Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Contract Lancer. Today we're going to be discussing a little bit about certifications. I'm sure that as a contractor or freelancer, you've had questions on whether or not you should get certain certifications and what certifications you should get. In this video, we're not going to be discussing specific certifications for specific, job things. That's for a whole other topic. This is just the nature of certifications and whether or not you should get certain certifications and how to take the most advantage of these certifications. So we'll be discussing that today. Stick around after the subscribe thing that I always put right here. Welcome. Please like and subscribe. So now, certifications. I'm sure you've all heard of this. As contractors, freelancers, just developers of all kinds, you have seen certifications and you have probably seen some jobs that say, hey, we require X certification to do. So when should you consider getting a certification? Are certifications worth getting even? I say it depends on the certification, obviously. It depends on the job you get. If you were a UI UX developer, I probably would say there aren't many certifications out there that I can think of off the top of my head that I would recommend you getting for anything really. I think that for a UI UX developer, you're better off with your portfolio and enhancing that than you are getting an actual certification, because you're kind of like a game developer in that sense, where your portfolio, what you can show, is much more important than the certs that you have. But for all the rest of you guys, everyone who's working in the back end, who's working in the cloud space or whatever, certifications could make a good difference for you. If you don't have that much experience, certifications are a good way to close the gap between you and your competition. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is beat out the competition through your resume. So that's what a certification can give you. You don't really care about you kind of do care about a little bit of what you're learning, because if you learn something that you don't like, then you'll know that you don't like it, right? But let's say that you do pass a certification, you want to do whatever it is that you're doing. The test itself doesn't really matter. What really matters is you trying to get your foot into the door to try to get that job. And that could happen either both to an inexperienced and an experienced individual. Someone with actual job experience will beat someone with a certification that does not have job experience. But someone with a certification will beat someone who does not have a certification if you both have no job experience. So this will give you an advantage either way. Now, let's talk about the investments of certifications. Depending on the certification, it could cost you between $100 to even $400. Sometimes it is worth getting, let's say if your job depends on it. If you have a really, really good job, let's say in my case, I have a good job and then they decide, you know what, you need this certification to keep your job. I have to bite the bullet on this one, I have to do it. My certification is rather expensive compared to other certifications that I have to get now. I'm not going to bother what it is because I don't think it's worth it, to be honest, for anyone else to get. But in my case, I have to pay $400 for the test and then whatever amount it is for the books. But you know what? My company is going to reimburse me for all that. So if you have a situation where, if you're in university or if you have a company that has a benefits package where that includes education, so if they are willing to, if they approve of it, because all companies will have an approval process, so you have to know what that is. But if they have a process where you can say, I'm going to try to get the certification, could you reimburse me for it? Then it's far more worth it to you to get that certification while you're still working there, because it is going to be under your name at the end of the day, and you'll take it with you for as long as you can fulfill the requirements of that certification. And if you pass it, of course. Now, certifications are a time sink. You will have to study for it. You will have to, and obviously you have to put money into it unless you're getting reimbursed. So if you are just starting out and you don't have the kind of benefits that allow you to get a certification discounted or completely reimbursed to you, then it is going to be an investment on your part. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Well, you have to do the research on the certification that you want and your career path. A full stack path, so you can go into a lot. Like for me as a full stack, I'll probably go into the cloud path. So I'll look for cloud certifications from Amazon or Azure, Microsoft basically. I believe that those two certifications for the cloud architect are worth it. They would increase my earning potential and will give me better, it'll make me better against the competition, because things are becoming more and more, cloud centric. That is the pattern that I see in the market. And that's what you should look at too. If you are trying to go into, like, let's say machine learning, maybe if Google has a certification, you should try to go for that one. I think Google has the better machine learning process, better machine learning technology than either Microsoft or Azure. But again, you have to look at what the market revolves around. If you're going for cloud, then you should know that Amazon has 70% of the market pat down, Microsoft's second, and then Google's third. So it really depends on what kind of career path you want and whether or not you want to pursue a certain path if you don't have the experience for it, because a certification is used for that as well. I will discuss this particular topic when you go into finding certifications and you try to go into finding, how to get materials for them. You will see things like Udemy. So there are some courses for certain certifications. They have a bunch of them. Pluralsight's the same way. There are other websites out there that are also reputable. These are the two that I usually go to because they are very giant libraries of information all condensed for you, and there are user ratings. They will tell you whether or not the courses are worth it. You just have to make sure that the courses are still relevant to the courses. To the certifications that you are trying to go for. Sometimes they might be expired and not up to date, so you gotta be careful with that. And another topic that comes up when certifications are brought up are dumps. Certification dumps are basically the answers to certain tests of those certifications, or at least pools of answers. I will say, I cannot condone you to do this. I will not condemn you to do it either. I will say that if you do pursue this, it is a legally and morally gray area to do it. And as a responsible and upright citizen of a contracting person that does not want to get in trouble with anyone, I will say do not do it. If you do choose to do it, however, I would be careful with what kind of dumps you're looking at and making sure that that you can tell whether or not they're up to date or whether or not they're safe to even open, because some of them might have viruses and stuff. This is not legal stuff to get them. It's not really legal. It's not illegal or illegal, but it is very gray area-ish. And I do not condone or condemn it, but I will not, advise to use it. There is a way of using dumps, however, on the up and up, legally and morally speaking, is that if you see that there is a great demand for certain tests, for certain certifications, then you will find that there's actual competition for that certification and that it might be worth it. Not only that, by the price of the dump as well. So that's how I would use dumps, is by gauging the market of those certifications through that. It's another way of doing it. Obviously, the best way to gauge whether or not a certification is worth it to you is the salary and whether or not it's in line with your career path. So don't waste time on certifications just to get them. Just focus on whatever it is you want to focus on, basically. Plan out whatever your path's going to be before you get your certifications. Because sometimes, getting those fundamentals of stuff aren't really worth it if you're not really going into that sort of thing, into whatever that path is. Apart from this all, remember that some certifications, if not most of them these days, will have basically an upkeep cost, a tax, a tithe that you have to pay in order to keep that certification. I know that the biggest ones are CompTIA, Microsoft, and Azure. I think all have this kind of, that their certifications expire after X amount of time, and you have to either redo the test again or do some sort of course that you have to pay in order to renew your certifications or get the continuing education credits, like in CompTIA's case. I have a Security Plus certification, so I have to pay $50 I have to pay basically $150 every 3 years, and then take a course to renew my credits again. So that's how they tax you, and Microsoft and Azure are going down that same path. So be prepared for that. However, the upkeep is usually worth it if your job needs it, or if you feel that it's going to give you better opportunities. Usually it does. So it's just really up to what you want to do. And I'm not going to go into specific certs now. I think I've hinted at some certs here and there, especially when I call CompTIA, Amazon, Microsoft, and their certifications and their policies. I haven't gone too in depth in them in this video. This is just a general overview of certifications and how they affect you as contractors and freelancers. But if interested, I will go over more specific certifications coming from Microsoft or Amazon and what career field you might see them in. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments. But I think that's it for today. Another quick one, another cert one, or certification one for you guys out there, in case you're interested in a certification. So just let me know. I think I'm done with this. So, like, subscribe. Contract Lancer is out of here for now, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Yo.